Over the past several years in our field, we've had a lot of changing terminology. We are now very mindful about avoiding deficit-based language like English language learner, what they don't have, and instead using strength-based language. I've heard you speak of a similar shift in terminology in the field of stuttering with regard to the term fluency intervention. Will you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I think that all of your members were all grown-ups, so I think it's okay for me to say this, but increasingly people refer to fluency as the other F word. The reason has to do with the history of the colloquial use of the term. Certainly fluency is a thing that exists, and it's not that it's a bad word to say, but the term fluency has been used for a long time now as a deficit-based way of viewing stuttering. People who stutter lack fluency. Fluency is defined as the thing that people who stutter can't do. Now, the term got into popular use because of a prior taboo against the use of the word stuttering. Many people were raised in an era where we weren't supposed to call it stuttering for fear that talking about stuttering would cause the person to become self-conscious. But inherent in that fear is this notion that stuttering is necessarily bad, that to say the S word is to label somebody with a bad thing. So that fear was rooted in an ableist approach. We picked this other word, fluency, but then just sort of used it as a proxy for the thing you can't do. That was ableist. So what we're trying to do these days is reclaim and redefine the word stuttering. What we're talking about with people who stutter is people who experience a disruption in their ability to plan or produce speech. And they experience that in a certain way. They experience it as a sense of being stuck or a sense of losing control. And we want to be very descriptive about what they're experiencing rather than labeling it as a negative, rather than presuming that it's a bad thing. Certainly, many people who stutter do experience difficulties in their lives. There's no doubt about that. And we, as speech language pathologists, can play a role in diminishing those difficulties. But we should not be automatically assuming or equating stuttering with a bad thing. We should be viewing stuttering as an example of the variety of human speech.